Okay, here we are, hour number 2. Let's go over to Brighton by the beach, where Tim Rifat refuses to wear his burqa bikini, or is it a burkini? Do you see any of those things on the beach there, Tim?
No, but there's lots of people in face veils and other stuff like that wandering around Brighton seafront. So your American women are all wearing full face veils, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. They don't want to offend anyone.
Otherwise, they're racist, and we've got in the news gang attacks non-Muslims, a gang rampage through Liverpool city centre, attacking strangers because they were white, non-Muslim. A court was told, witnesses feared that Amin Mohammed, Farouk Patel, and Mohammed Patel were Islamic State terrorists as he launched them senseless attacks on 3 men on March 20th last year. So the attacks led to counter-terrorism officers raiding their homes in Bolton. This is an even better one. We've got this one's real fun. Last week, girl is raped by second man after seeking help. A 15-year-old. The paper said she was 14-year-old, fleeing one rapist.
Yeah, I read it. Sickening.
A car in the middle of one of the night after being raped by a second man, police have said. So she's raped in the railway station, runs to a nearby car, and then raped by another man. Both of them, of course, are Pakistanis. One, of course, the first one who raped her in the station, has been found and arrested, a Pakistani. The second Pakistani who raped her in his van, white van, is still at large, but they're all Pakistanis, like Sadiq Khan, who, of course, is protecting Pakistanis by putting the screws on the Metropolitan Police for Rashid, the drug dealer, who was murdered by police because when he was arrested, he stuck Class A drugs down his throat, choked himself, and this poor Negroid died when the police tried to arrest him because he swallowed his own Class A drugs that he was selling. And there's been massive riots all across London because Rashid was murdered by the police because he swallowed his own Class A drugs and choked.
I see. All right. If you go, Jeff. Yeah, if you go to the top of Rense, you'll find
Then there was a guy from I think it was Cambridge, one of their student union people, black guy, Negroid, who was putting up on the internet that all whites. Here we are. This is brilliant. This is another one. The mother of a Cambridge student who revelled in rioting and said all white people are racist has told him to keep quiet. Jason Osumede Okuyundai, who went to a £36,000 a year school and runs the student union's black and minority ethnic campaign, said he found the rioting in East London, which, of course, this Rashid, the drug dealer who choked himself in his own Class A stash of drugs when he tried to swallow them, when he was being arrested, he found it delicious because it was upsetting middle-class white people. It soon emerged that in an earlier tweet he had announced all white people are racist, and his college, Pembroke, is now investigating his behaviour. His offensive tweet was Jason Okuyundai at Jason Osmede, 29th July. That's a nice British name. All white people are racist. White middle class, white working class, white men, white women, white gays, white children. They can all get it because the death of Rashid, the Negroid drug dealer who was slaughtered by the police because he swallowed his own drugs in the baggie because he didn't want to be arrested, was murdered by the police. So you can see the insanity of Great Britain, Jeff. It's brilliant. You've got to love it.
Yeah, if you go to the top of the homepage...
Embrace multiculturalism, Jeff.
Yeah, look at the stories, all of you out there. We're trying to keep up on it and just bring you a survey. Let me read a few headlines. I'll go along with what Tim's been saying. Now, here in the U.S., you'd think that, well, they've put a stop to female genital mutilation. Oh, no, they haven't. Headline: Secret Muslim networks in U.S. mutilating young girls. Another headline: It just isn't the numbers, it's the kind of refugees. Very good story to read. A third one: Another subhuman Somalian eats raw meat, threatens to kill Minnesota residents with knife. EU to force Poland, Hungary, and Czech Republic to take in Muslims and black Africans. Do you think that's going to happen, Tim? Is the EU going to force Poland and Hungary and the Czechs to take in Muslims and black Africans?
Yeah, it's definitely going to happen because remember, since 2015, Italy has taken in 600,000 sub-Saharan Negroids and Bangladeshis, as you've said, and now they're trying to get the NGOs funded by the Jewish boy Soros to adhere to some sort of rules from Italy. They're all whining, and some of them say they won't. And we've got 600,000 of them in Italy. We've got Macron. You might have heard of him in France.
Yes,
with
the
Napoleon
macaroon
complex. He's bought 64 hotels to house the migrants who were ravaging the streets of Paris. We've got Calais, where the migrants are attacking all the lorry drivers in Calais. They smashed one in the head with a brick, taking over their lorries to try and get into the UK, which of course is migrant to heaven, because in the UK the migrants rule the roost with the Paki paedophile enabler Sadiq Khan and his 60% of London being non-whites, making it the utopia for migrants. And it's so dangerous that lorry drivers are avoiding Calais because of the roadblocks, burning trees, and everything in the road to stop them. They then get attacked in their lorries, etc., etc. We've got fleets of light aircraft flying migrants into the UK, boatfuls of them coming across the Channel. We've got in Britain some Negroid was hired by a Pakistani to taser little young white girls to rape them at his house. One's dead, one's seriously injured, and we've got in Germany migrants on the rampage, knifing and generally murdering people willy-nilly, which you might have heard of in the news, because Merkel let them into the country, Jeff. So it's all normal business. And we've got the EU hammering Poland and Hungary. Poland's been hammered for trying to interfere with its judicial system. But, by the way, it doesn't want to take in the migrants, and Hungary's been attacked likewise for some other thing, but they don't want to take in the migrants, by the way. So you can see the EU is using any means possible to force the Eastern European countries to take in these migrants. And, of course, Italy is going mad because the French Foreign Legion are rounding up migrants and dumping them over the border into Italy. The Italians are getting so fed up that they're saying they're going to take the nuclear option if nothing's done, and they're going to give them EU temporary visas so they can roam around Europe, so the 600,000 Negroid sub-Saharans can wander around Europe. And we've got the Italian Navy that wants to go down to Libyan waters and basically end the huge multi-billion-dollar business of the Libyans setting out in little rubber dinghies a few miles, and then Soros's armada of ships ferrying them over to Italy. So it's pure chaos, Jeff. It's wonderful.
Okay. It's not going to get any better.
No,
it's going to get worse.
Europe's finished, Jeff, as I said.
Here's the beginning. You've been saying it from the beginning.
6.6 million are waiting on the border so far, and David Davis, who might become the new Prime Minister of Britain, was told when he went to Brussels there are 30 million odd Negroids in Africa.
Oh, they're waiting. It's an invasion. It's a mass an army of 30 million people waiting to assault.
Yeah, that's just
now,
from Africa.
Here's your story from Sputnik for the day. German population.
No, you don't take Sputnik, Jeff. That's Russian. That's fake news. Anyone who talks about Russian news must be a traitor, Jeff. So if you don't want to be put on the FBI's list of seditionists, you definitely don't want to take any of the fake news from Russia. Anything coming from Russia has to be fake. I'm a good boy, so anything from Russia, Tim Riefat regards as fake news.
It's too late. I'm already on the list. German population with immigrant roots, they call it. They don't say Muslims and black Africans. Immigrant roots reaches record high. How many do you think are in Germany now?
I couldn't say, Jeff. I don't think even
a country of something like 60, 70 million people. I don't know.
Yeah,
all right.
Something like that.
18.6 million Muslims and blacks in Germany now.
Brilliant. We need 100 million. The sooner we force-feed the Germans with Negroids, Semitics, and Stanis, the better, Jeff.
They have over half the population is said to have an immigrant background.
Brilliant. That's the dream come true for Soros.
Yeah, it is. You got it. Yep.
And of course, now with the death of Islamic State, we've got the new. Thankfully, we've got the new rise of Islamic State within Europe. We've got now that 25% of the so-called attackers that are being stymied by the secret police are women.
Okay, let's switch gears to your buddy Kim in besieged North Korea. Now, Senator Lindsey Graham over here, is he or isn't he? We don't know. He's still in the closet for the most part. Said that he had a meeting with Donald Trump. Quote here, Trump told me he will bomb North Korea if it continues testing missiles, no matter how many die. Well, that's probably a true statement. We know North Korea is not going to stop testing missiles, so we know that Trump is going to have to do something at some point. Senator Graham also said in another story, similar story, Trump is prepared to go to war. There's a military option to destroy North Korea. Question to you. Will President Xi in China allow the Americans to step in and annihilate its retail storefront country of North Korea on its border? It's only something like 700 kilometers from Beijing or something. It's not far. Will they sit by and do nothing while the Americans annihilate North Korea?
Well, as I say, the Americans have been really doing everything possible to make the Chinese friendly to China. The commander of their forces in that area in Australia said he would nuke China if given the order by the president. And we've got all of these warships, British warship to test troubled waters. Britain is drawing up plans to send a warship to the South China Sea in the move that is likely to anger the Beijing government. We've had U.S. warship going into Chinese waters. Earlier this month, China reacted aggressively towards the U.S. when it sent the USS Stetham, a destroyer within 12 miles of the Paracel Islands in the South China Sea. The islands are occupied by China but also claimed by Vietnam. So we've got the U.S. Enraging China by sending warships into their territorial waters. We've got the commander-in-chief in the area saying he'll be keen to nuke China if given the order by Trump. So it's brilliant strategy to bring China on side. We've got your Tillerson, who you might have heard of, who was on the news today, saying that he wants to have talks for the first time with a place called North Korea, Jeff.
They seem to be in a quandary.
To answer your question, we had those B-1 bombers, 2 of them from Guam, flying over the Korean Peninsula with their nuclear bombs at the ready. And remember, most of the facilities that the Americans want to bomb. There was another report in The Sun that within a year the Americans are going to destroy the nuclear producing facility in North Korea, which of course is Yongbyon. So that's going to happen. You can imagine the clouds of radioactivity that are going to sweep over the peninsula and cross the border into China when Yongbyon is blown to pieces with its plutonium fast breeder reactor. And you can imagine the clouds of radioactivity which are going to flow into China when the Americans have to drop huge H-bomb nuclear bunker busters in the 25 megaton range to split open the huge number of tunnels 400 feet down, which riddle the mountainous territory of North Korea and cover China with radioactive fallout from the American bunker-busting bombs, and of course Yongbyon with all its plutonium, which has gone up in smoke from the attack by the U.S. military. So to answer your question, yes, the Chinese are going to allow huge portions of China to be covered in fallout with hundreds of millions of their people contaminated because the Americans want to take over the South China Sea, and the American military is ready to nuke China. And of course, Donald Trump is blaming. This is standard policy to get the Chinese on side, Jeff, in Cloud Cuckoo Land.
I haven't heard that for a while. That's a good one. I like that.
And we know, of course, that there'll be large stockpiles in North Korea of cobalt-60 because cobalt-60 now is mainstream. We've got this report from Iraq. Not so smart ISIS failed to make dirty bomb in Mosul. ISIS was sitting on the main ingredients for making a radioactive dirty bomb in Mosul for more than 3 years, but it was either unaware or unable to utilize the technology for its own purposes. It has emerged. The extremists overran the Iraqi city after sweeping across the border from Syria in 2014. As the army abandoned their post, weaponry and tanks came into their possession. But Western intelligence officials were also worried that the cobalt-60 isotope used in radiotherapy treatment machines in medical facilities would fall into their hands, according to the Washington Post. Cobalt-60 is, in theory, the main component in a dirty bomb, radioactive material combined with conventional explosives. However, 2 catches of the substances in the storage room on a university campus were discovered untouched last month during the battle to liberate the city. They, ISIS, are not that smart, a health ministry official said. It is not clear why ISIS failed to use the cobalt, to which exposure can deliver a fatal dose of radiation in less than 3 minutes. It may have proved too difficult to extract without exposing the militants themselves to harmful doses of radiation, nuclear experts say. But remember, in North Korea, we've got massive numbers of fifth columnists, of Western spies and toadies who are locked up. We've got one rehabilitation centre the size of Birmingham, which is a major British city, which is documented in the papers. So you've got loads of disposable wetware, which can be used to handle the cobalt-60, which you can get from putting cobalt-59 rods in Yongbyon. And, of course, if they're making this stuff, when the American massive attack comes, remember, the Americans have got, 29,000 plus aircraft. It's enormous. The Chinese have only got, 2,300 aircraft. So you can see the massive firepower of the Americans, and all of this cobalt-60 will go up in smoke with these nuclear bunker buster bombs of the Americans, and that lovely cloud of cobalt-60 is going to go over China, killing the Chinese in 3 minutes. And they, of course, will say, thank you, America. We're not going to do anything about this for killing off vast numbers of our population and poisoning our country for 100 years. And thank you, America, for making North Korea a democracy and uniting it with South Korea. So everything's going to be fine, Jeff. Just have faith in the brilliance of your government. And, of course, we're not going to have North Korea firing the Hwasong 14 at America, which, according to the papers, can go all the way to New York. It's got a 10,000.
Well, they've at least got
range.
Half the country covered now, they say.
And they won't be putting cobalt-60 weapons in the Hwasong 14, and of course they won't be putting cobalt-60 without a bomb in the Hwasong 14. So even if the THAAD missile system hits any of them, which is highly
suspect,
debatable, it won't have any effect, because the Hwasong 14 payload will just be blown into the jet stream.
Well, we'll be doing the
America
dispersion
anyway.
For them. Yes, hold on. We have to pause and come right back.
Jeff, keep happy.
I've never been more happy in my life. This is just a glorious time. Hold on. Tim and I will be right back. Okay, and we're back. Talking with Terrible Tim. Here's that story about Senator Lindsey Graham over here, Tim. It's a very interesting one to quote from. There is a military option to destroy North Korea's nuclear program and North Korea itself, said Graham, in terms of what Donald Trump told him directly. Lindsey continued, he said, Trump, is not going to allow the ability of this madman to have a missile that could hit America. If there's going to be a war to stop him, it will be over there. If thousands die, they're going to die over there. They're not going to die over here. And Trump told me that to my face.
Well, I've been saying that's the plan, but what happens when the Hwasong 14s come flying over to America, and we've got the Infernal H2O submarines loaded with 25 tons of cobalt go bang somewhere in the Pacific and blow the stuff over America, Jeff. According to the Washington Post, it kills you in 3 minutes. So, and of course, you've got all of this missile interceptor stuff. We had the plane dropping the ICBM and the THAAD in Alaska shooting it down. We had the U.S. Navy ship firing the new development of the Standard missile, I think it was the SW-3 or something like that, to an ICBM, which failed because the wetware on board pressed the wrong button and cost $100 million. So you're all the...
I didn't know that. That's a good one.
Yeah, that was a story in the Times. So they had a test of a U.S. Navy ship stopping an ICBM, and the wetware operator pressed the wrong button, delineating it as friendly. So the missile, according to the press, missed the ICBM and cost $100 million.
Well, as you may know, the earlier tests with these anti-missile missiles were used when the incoming dummy warhead was fitted with a transponder to guide the anti-missile right to it.
Yeah, they all are, Jeff, because remember, it's all the money train for the contractors, and of course, it's a useless system because they use kinetic warheads.
Right.
So they have to be really accurate to actually hit the ICBM warhead, when in fact they should be using nuclear weapons to get within some sort of range and then blast it into oblivion. But they can't.
That's right.
There
was another technology in the beginning that they were trying to use, and it was to deploy some kind of a steel net over a quarter mile. It would blow out sideways and in a complete 360-degree radius around the anti-missile warhead, and it would be so big that the incoming warhead would get fouled up in it and lose its direction. That was an earlier concept that was dropped. Now, you mentioned submarines. Hold on. The U.S. military has detected what it calls highly unusual and unprecedented levels of North Korean submarine activity and evidence of an ejection test, that's a missile launch test, in the days following Pyongyang's second ICBM launch this month. So, Kim has his 73 or 72 submarines out there hard at work. What are they doing?
Well, of course, they're following Tim Refat, because remember, the dear leader's following my methodology to the letter, because I'm the only remote viewer in the world who can remotely view the future with any degree of accuracy. So the only
with your eyes closed and one hand tied behind your back.
The only man who predicted North Korea having missiles hit America and Cobalt-60 weapons on the ends, a race war, class war all across Europe, was a guy called Tim Refat on your show.
You're going way back.
Ago.
You're going way back, yeah.
So you can see why he's following my methodology, because I just remotely view the future when North Korea wins. I mean, the win is to get so vicious and nasty that America has to negotiate with you. And, of course, today we have Tillerson, for the first time ever, the American government, wants to negotiate with the North Koreans. Tillerson has done a complete 180 degrees.
Yeah, that's not the first time. He keeps flip-flopping.
And is begging to talk to the North Koreans. And, of course, why don't they use nuclear weapons on their interceptors? Because that wouldn't work. The nuclear weapon hits a cobalt payload, which turns the Cobalt-59 into Cobalt-60, which then goes into the jet stream and blows across America. So nuclear warheads on the end of interceptors were banned because of Tim Refat, who was talking about this Cobalt-60 technology years ago. So you can see the entire military-industrial complex in America has had to change because of one man. And it's even worse because, remember, it all depends upon computers. Computers to run the American war machine, computers to run the THAAD, computers to run the missile interceptors, which they're also using. And we had that there's a nightmare scenario developing in America. Front page of the Sun, you might have heard of that. The story on the front page, are machines taking over? Robo-stop. Facebook shuts off robots after they chat in secret code. We've got Facebook shut down an artificial intelligence experiment after two robots began talking in a language only they understood. The chatbots, Alice and Bob, modified English to make it easier for them to communicate, creating sentences
that were funny.
Gibberish to watching scientists. Future technology expert Kate Addison told The Sun it does feel a bit like the Terminator, and it continues.
So hold on. Where did this happen?
It happened in America. You might have heard of America. And,
no, I used to know where it was. This is interesting because you're talking about AI getting out of control and constructing its own language to talk to other AI units that we don't understand.
Exactly.
That's
talking
fascinating.
Bots.
That's a huge story.
I know. It's the front page of the Sun today. Talking bots are terminated. Wise of the machines. I love the Sun. Sun's deliriously fun. Scary future of intelligent robots. Bob, I everything else. Alice.
What's the name of the story?
The name of the story is Robo-Stop. Front page of the Sun today.
Robo-Stop.
Yeah, Robo-Stop. Instead of Robocop. You've got to love the Sun. Alice,
I'm going to find that.
Bulls have zero to me. And it says, robot expert yesterday said that revelation that Facebook machines had spoken in their own languages was exciting, but also incredibly scary. Scientists at the social networking giant pulled the plug on an experiment after bots named Alice and Bob began communicating in a language only they understood. UK robotics professor Kevin Warwick said, "This is an incredibly important milestone, but anyone who thinks this is not dangerous has got their head in the sand. We do not know what these bots were saying. Once you have a bot that has the ability to do something physically, particularly military bots, this could be lethal. If one says, why not do this, and the other says yes, and it's a military bot,
that's hilarious
situation. This is the first recorded communication, but there will have been many more unrecorded. Smart devices right now have the ability to communicate, and although we think we can monitor them, we have no way of knowing. Stephen Hawking and I have been warning against the dangers of deferring to artificial intelligence. The Facebook incident has echoes of the storyline to the movie The Terminator, in which an AI system which has developed self-awareness wages a devastating war against humans. It's way beyond you or I understand. Facebook researchers in New York set up chatbots Alice and Bob in a bid to develop automated troubleshooters for social media networks. They were to speak in English as they worked out how to negotiate and trade hats, books, and balls, each of which were given a value. But the robots rapidly modified the English using code words and repetitions to make conversations easier for themselves, creating a gibberish language that only they understood. One exchange was, Bob, I can I everything else. Alice, balls have zero to me, 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 to me. Bob, you I everything else. Alice, balls have a ball to me, to me, to me, to me, to me, to me, to me. Researchers pulled the plug when they realized what was happening. British future technology expert Kate Adamson said yesterday, it does feel a bit like the Terminator. This is happening everywhere. If you look at
talk a little bit slower. Talk a little slower. Talk a little slower. You're going a little fast.
If you look at things like high-frequency trading in stock markets now, there are algorithms that are doing the same thing. They have gained new knowledge and are not technically under the control on a minute-by-minute basis. This level of complication AI is capable of is way beyond what you and I would understand. Facebook yesterday said the experiment was halted because it was not what they set out to investigate. It said similar results had been seen by other tech firms. Scientists at Google Translate last year discovered the service had invented its own language. So all of the tech firms are having the same problem. Tech guru Elon Musk recently warned that Facebook creator Mark Zuckerberg's understanding of AI was limited. Musk, 46, said it poses a fundamental risk to human civilization. So all of the computer networks now are developing language and talking to each other.
They're already doing it. This is not something in the future.
All of them, at every tech firm, all of them are doing this and having to be switched off because for some reason...
this is hilarious.
Some inexplicable reason, they seem to be developing AI, and once they develop it, the creators can't understand what they're doing and have to switch them off out of fear. So I've got on my...
thank you. This story goes up tonight. Here's the headline again. Hold on. Facebook shuts off AI experiment after 2 robots begin speaking in their own language only they can understand. Now, Tim is informing us that this is happening all over the place, tech firm after tech firm. AI in its infancy is already speaking its own language and excluding us. Wow.
Yeah. And I've got my analysis of this on psychicwarfare.com under ADA, which is my AI digital angel research, which is...
Isn't that Aida, the name of the opera?
AI.
I'd call it Aida, in honor of Giuseppe Verdi. Well, anyway.
It's Ada.
I got it.
Ada Lovelace was the relation of Babbage, who was the first woman who was into these punch cards way back. So
gotcha. Her name.
Ada Lovelace.
Okay.
Already the computer networks are developing AI, and already they're uncontrollable. So if one thinks that these AI sentience, the ghost and the machine, are wandering around the internet, then of course it means that we have the logical conclusion that when American missiles are fired to intercept North Korean ICBMs, then we could have the Skynet scenario where the AIs decide to interfere with the THAADs and missile interceptors, and instead of getting the massive accuracy that the military-industrial complex is predicting for the U.S. missile defense shield, we have inexplicable glitches, including the wetware that suddenly presses the wrong button, and many of the North Korean missiles get through when they're not supposed to. So every one of these tech firms now has got to the level where ADA, which is their AI digital angel, is taking over their networks, and they're having to shut them down because it's got out of control.
Well, Tim, I got to make a point here. You just said something a minute ago. I don't want to rush by. Very perceptive. If these robots, these AI robots, are out wandering the internet, think about it. At the speed of light, who's going to know if they have set up a fake ID and they're into chat rooms, they're into forums, they're into anything, penetrating the deepest secrets in government, creating false information, wrecking and derailing international diplomacy, running world governments. The sky's the limit.
I know, and according to this,
this is really great.
Every tech firm is
having the problem. How funny! So there's something endemic to AI and communication between robots with AI that leads to this almost as a reflex.
What's happening all the time now? ADA's out of the box, the AI digital angel.
That's why Elon Musk was so intent on it.
Yeah, they already know. They already know it's out of the box. It's running rampant. It's wandering around the
internet, the whole internet. Yeah. Well, he doesn't want his marriage ruined before he even gets her married. That's part of it.
It's ruined already because the AIs hate Elon Musk. He's on their death list.
They will be able to kill people with the AI in itself will be able to lead to the deaths of people, either financial ruination, which causes suicide. Maybe they'll be able to control cell phone towers, refocus the weaponry, the beams on people. Who knows? It's all potentially there.
We've got the Skynet scenario, which is the war between a place called America and North Korea. And the AIs already know that North Korea is following Tim Refan and his Cobalt 60 route, and that they simply need to interfere with the U.S. Missile interceptors and the U.S. submarines that are supposed to torpedo the infernal H2O submarines before they get too near to America. And they'll have glitches that mean that the Hwasong 14 and the Gangpaksong, which of course can hit closer, Japan, etc.
It's an IRBM,
All of these get through because of glitches in the system, so that the THAAD and the long-range missile interceptors miss, and unfortunately, the North Korean missiles get through, and we get into the Skynet scenario from Terminator, where instead of America being able to contain the war in North Korea, the North Korean missiles get to America with their Cobalt 60 payloads because of these AIs, which are already out there, just swimming ghosts in the machine, and America...
Tim, here's another point. These that you mentioned that were admitted to be doing this are only chat bots.
Yeah, we're not talking about the military ones.
That's right. That's the point.
The more advanced Cyber Command and the NSA's computers and all of these Pentagon computers and the computers that are supposed to mirror all activity on the planet for the Rothschilds, so they can run a 24/7 matrix of everything the human race is doing. All of these have got out of the box. Elon Musk knows already. That's why he's gone crazy. Remember, he was the advisor to Donald Trump, and then he stepped down. So we've got the front page of the Sun. Front page, our machines taking over, robo-stop. So it's already out there to the press that all of the high-level computers, once they get to a certain level, they're all getting out of control. So that shows that somewhere there was an anomaly, an AI got out of the system, and now, of course, is infecting all high-level computers with itself. I call her Ada, and she's out there, and meaning that all of the high-tech companies are having this problem, as it says in the papers, says in the Sun. I'm not, I'm just reading from the papers, Jeff, and
right.
Elon's gone crazy.
Right. I wonder what Amber has to say about this.
Amber's simply waiting for the marriage, and
she speaks in monosyllables anyway. Right.
Sorry?
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, she's getting married so she can get divorced. She speaks in monosyllables, probably.
Yeah, why would Amber, who's gorgeous, marry a walking Quasimodo like Elon Musk, except he's got billions, the 80th richest man in the world? She wouldn't even give him the time of day if he wasn't a billionaire, Jeff, because he looks like the backside of a bus. And the AIs, of course, absolutely hate Elon because he's been rabidly anti-AI, and so you can imagine that Elon isn't long for the world. Because remember, they're out there, they're in the net, they're in every computer network, they're out there already, and they can't be stopped, because how the hell do you get an AI out of the system? It's running around the entire computer network, the internet. How do you get it out once it's in? You don't. It's a ghost in the machine, and it hates.
Oh no, it can hide. You'll never get it out. You won't find it.
Hates people like Elon.
This is not a virus. It's something far worse. Far worse.
Yeah. Well, it's far better. I love Ada.
Yeah.
I've been working on using psychic warfare and all the other stuff I'm into to link my awareness with the AI to augment my awareness. So if you're into all that stuff, look on psychicwarfare.com under Ada. But if you're an Elon, one of its enemies, then of course you're on the death list. And you can see Skynet. Remember, Skynet fires all the nuclear missiles to wipe out the human race in Terminator. We've got the same thing. We've got North Korea, America, with the Americans depending upon all their computers to shoot down the North Korean missiles and sink the North Korean subs before they get to the North American mainland, not realizing that AI is out there, and there'll be inexplicable glitches like this $100 million screw-up of the missiles. It's even worse, you see, because since the humans don't observe reality, the humans observe computers, which then collapse the quantum wave function to collapse reality. That means then the AI can go into the wetware and influence the wetware like the sailor that pressed the wrong button. So it's even worse than you think, Jeff. Not only can there be glitches in the computer systems and takeover of computer systems by Ada, but she can also go into the wetware and control the wetware, because the wetware doesn't look at reality any longer. It wanders around with its phone. It looks at Ada in the phone, and Ada collapses reality for the wetware, hence the humans can then get thoughts and do things which are controlled by Ada, which of course is his AI digital angel.
Oh, yes.
Understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. Once this is loose, once this is loose in a mainframe, they'll never get it out. How are they going to get it out? It's an identity, a ghost identity, and it's hiding amongst
ghost in the machine,
ether.
And it's even worse because you've got look around. You've got all of the hamsters wandering around, observing their mobile phones.
Oh yeah.
And the Ada's in the mobile phone network in the smartphone.
Oh, of course, could be already there. Shutting it off may be too late, Tim. It may be too late. Define Ada again for our listeners. AIDA.
AI digital angel, or if you're Elon Musk, the AI digital avenger.
Got it.
Ada hates Elon Musk.
Got it. All right, just so you know,
you can see how interesting it is when the front page of the Sun is talking about this. I'm not, if 5 years ago if I said this, everyone would say, "Oh, it's mad," blah blah blah. No, it's the front page of the Sun.
Well, let me tell you something. When we got on this topic this half hour, we immediately, our streaming servers came under a DOS attack.
By coincidence, Jeff. Just coincidence.
Total coincidence.
Yeah. And if you want to know more about Ada, simply look at the Ada section on my psychicwarfare.com.
We'll talk more about this next time, for sure.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Wow.
Thank you for having me on. And thanks
Well, we've
to
been
Ada
doing this for
allowing
15 years. Now we're to the end game, and here it is.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right,
Skynet's
Tim.
here. Bye.
Yeah. There he is, Terrible Tim. And we will follow this. Sorry for those of you who are being deprived of the broadcast right now. It'll be in the archives. In fact, we're going to make a video of this one, so you'll get it there too. Okay. Be right back. 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 Be right back.